Hey guys, this is Jessica. Welcome back to the Retro Farmhouse. Today we're going to be working on a longer DIY project. All the items you need will be listed below. I'm going to start out with this Dollar Tree sign and these 2 large stir sticks. Now what I'm going to do first is I don't need this to be as wide as it is, so I'm just going to score this and cut it with my box cutter. Then I want to make this a little bit longer. If you don't and you want a smaller truck, you can just use the piece you currently have, but I'm reusing the rest of the pieces that are left over and I'm just measuring that to the length, and then I'm going to hot glue that to the back side of my sign. To secure this well, I use some E6000 and hot glue. Now I'm going to take 2 of my larger stir sticks and I'm going to apply some E6000 and hot glue, and I'm going to place these on the underside of the sign. Next, I'm going to take 2 more large stir sticks and I'm going to place this on both sides on the top of the sign. Now I'm taking 2 more large stir sticks and this is going to be the front piece. So I wanted it to have a curved edge just so that it looked more like the hood of a truck. So basically I have a miter saw and this is going to cut this really well, but if you don't and you're just using the little miter box, just cut some of the angles and then take your sandpaper and then just kind of sand the edge down. These don't have to be perfect, just as long as they give it more of a rounded look. Next, I'm going to take some of my smaller stir sticks and I'm just measuring the length in the front. I'm going to apply 3 of these to the front side. Now you can probably also use the larger popsicle sticks that they sell at Walmart. If you don't have a saw, that is helpful. You can cut those down with scissors, but I'm just using these smaller stir sticks. You can get plenty of them for 97 cents. I think they come in a 10-pack. Now I'm just going to measure the distance of where the front of my hood's going to stop and where I want my cab to be. So basically I tried to do this in thirds. So I believe from the front to the end of my hood, I marked it to the 6-inch mark, and then from the windshield to the end of the cab, I marked it at 4.5. Now I'm just going to take another one of my small stir sticks and I'm just measuring where the end of my hood is going to end and the top of the windshield is going to start. So I'm just going to cut this piece and apply it with some hot glue and E6000. And I'm applying this onto my 6-inch mark that I made. Next, I'm going to take one of our baking sheets that I got from the Dollar Tree and I'm just going to rub out the pattern with one of my leftover stir sticks. Then I'm gonna take my scissors and I'm gonna cut the edge piece out, leaving as much to this sheet as I possibly can. I always like to have a little bit more excess for my projects, just in case. You can always cut off the excess later, but obviously you can't add after you've cut it off. Next, I'm gonna turn my base over. I'm gonna set this on top, and I'm just gonna draw my lines where this needs to be trimmed, and I'm gonna cut this with scissors. Now I'm going to start to glue this to the front, and I'm just going to glue it to the front of my hood piece with some E6000 and hot glue, and I'm just going to fold it up over the hood part and glue it down. Basically, when I was constructing this, I worked from the front end to the back end, so you can kind of see how I'm assembling this as I go. Now I'm measuring another shorter stir stick, and I'm going to cut this measuring from both of the inside pieces, because you're going to want that to fit as a slot down inside. You'll see what I'm talking about. Now I'm also taking 2 small popsicle sticks, and I've cut these in half. I would have used just popsicle sticks for this, but I don't have any, so I had to take one of my larger popsicle sticks and cut that down. So this bottom piece that you see me applying here, this is going to be the bottom part of our windshield. So I needed something for the foil to grab onto. Now I'm going to take these other 2 smaller sticks, and I'm just going to apply these to the front sides of our windshield. Now, as you see me doing here, I'm just measuring for the top piece of the windshield and the sides. Again, if you have smaller popsicle sticks, I would just use those, but I had to cut mine down in half and then cut them lengthways to make them fit. The reason I'm using popsicle sticks for this part is because I wanted that rounder edge as it goes up over the hood, or actually the top part of the cab. I wanted it to kind of look a little bit more rounded. Now I'm cutting a popsicle stick to go at the top part of my windshield, so that now it's going to create a rectangle in the front. And I didn't want to use the whole popsicle stick, it's too wide. I wanted something smaller, so I'm just cutting this down the middle. Now I'm gonna place those smaller pieces on the side part of our door. And then I'm gonna take some E6000 and I'm just gonna apply that in small dots all over the bottom of the sign. And basically what I'm doing here is I'm taking my small stir sticks and I'm gonna put those as the bottom part of our truck bed. I wanted something to cover this sign. You could paint this if you really don't want that part. Now my last piece that I put in here, I did have to end up overlapping that off of another piece. It didn't all fit flat, but that's okay. Once I ended up staining this, you didn't notice. Now I'm gonna take one of my stir sticks and I'm just measuring that to the end of my cab and I'm gonna cut that down. So I'm gonna cut a couple of these. I believe I used about 3 to start with, and you're gonna wanna cut this the inside width. You'll see what I'm talking about here once I start applying this. So I'm placing these at my end mark where I put the 4.5 from the 6-inch mark of the windshield. So really this is going to be 10.5 inches back from the front. Now I'm just going to measure right here for my height for my back cab piece, and I'm taking 2 of my larger popsicle sticks and I'm going to cut those down to the 4.5 inch height. Now I'm going to hot glue these to the inside back piece so that I have a base to apply more of the smaller stir sticks up the back side of my cab. And I'm just going to measure some more of those out and I'm going to cut those. Now when I did apply these, they didn't all fit exactly correct. So what I did is I just created a little gap and made it like a little window in the back. Now I need to cut my top piece of my cab to connect my front and my back pieces of the windshield and the back of the cab. So I'm basically just taking another large popsicle stick and cutting this down. Now I'm going to cut some more of my smaller sticks down to apply to the back. I did cut 3 of them down, but I only ended up using 2 for my tailgate because, as you'll see later, the bottom part, I ended up just covering that with some foil for my bumper. Now you can leave the backside as is, but I wanted to create a little bit more of a farmhouse look. So I'm just taking my leftover sticks that I had cut from my other pieces of the small stir sticks, and I'm applying this on both sides of the back ends of my truck bed. First, I start in all 4 of my corners, and then I space out 2 more in between those. Now I'm measuring more stir sticks on the side, and I'm just going to cut that to the length. And you're going to want to do this for 4 of these. And while I was cutting, I went ahead and measured this top piece, which is going to hold down the top of our tin. Once I cut my pieces, I'm just going to apply these with some E6000 and hot glue, and you're going to place 2 of them on each side of the back part. Next, I ended up cutting a small square hole in my windshield. Now, I did leave a little bit of room on the insides, and I basically cut some small slits at an angle in each of my corners so that once I'm gluing this down, I could end up wrapping it around into the windshield. And then I'm just going to hot glue this onto the top of the back part of my cab, and then that piece that we just cut, I'm going to take that and I'm going to hot glue that on to that top piece just to give it more of a cleaner edge. Now for the wheels, I had 4 of these little ribbon spools left over, so what I'm doing is I'm just carefully removing the parts, the front and back cardboard parts. Now you will have a little bit of ripping. If you do, just point those towards the inside. But what I did is I took just some of my white acrylic paint from Apple Barrel, and I liked the little, I don't know what the style is called, but it's the vintage white tires. So I'm creating a white circle on the inside of all of these, and then I'm going to take my black acrylic paint and I'm going to paint a small circle on the outside and then paint the rim to make these look like tires. Next, I'm going to take our second tin and I'm just cut the rim out and I'm just rubbing the pattern out. Now I've taken one of those little cardboard pieces and I've folded it in half, and I'm going to trace out 8 of these. These are going to go over our wheels. Once these were cut out, I just glued 1 to each side of my wheel, and then to close off the top part, I just cut some strips that were the width of these and I hot glued those over the top and just cut my excess. After that, I'm taking my Waverly chalk paint. I think I'm using the color Crimson, and I'm just applying 2 coats to the front and top piece of both, or of all of these wheels. Then I'm just going to take this paint and I'm going to apply this in 2 coats all over my truck. I went ahead and took the back part and I wanted that to be different, so I did stain that with some stain in Early American. I believe it's from Minwax. But you can really do anything with this. You can paint it white. If you want it to be all red, you can paint it red. I just like some of the contrast. Next, I just took some E6000 and hot glue and I applied all 4 of my wheels to the sides. I'm taking a leftover piece from my tin and I'm cutting that down and I'm hot gluing this to the back side, and I also ended up making one for the front side as well to create our bumpers. And here's our final look. I put some little greenery in this, and this could really be cute with any season. I can't wait to use this for Christmas, to put some little Christmas trees in, but I think this turned out great. I ended up dry brushing some brown oxide all over this just to give it a little bit more of the distressed look. And for the little mirrors, I actually took apart some of the laundry clips and just put foil over those and hot glued those to the side. Really hope you guys enjoyed today's project. I know it was a bit of a longer one, but this project does turn out great if you just stick with it. I just want to say thank you again so much for all of the new subscribers and our current subscribers and all of the comments that you all have left me. If you do like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe, and we'll see you again for our next DIY.